Hi everyone, this is my audience for my first informative speech.
Hello.
Alright. Think about the adrenaline that you experience that helps you ace a big test or compete well in a sporting event. Now consider the anxiety you may feel because of a looming deadline. Would it surprise you to know that both of these seemingly opposite reactions are in fact caused by the same thing? Both of these responses are known as stress, which is your body's way of reacting to a challenge of some sort. When an organism is presented with any type of stimuli, i.e. the challenge, the stressor is evaluated and determined to be either positive or negative. Although most of us consider stress to be unhealthy, there is such a thing as positive stress, otherwise known as eustress. Eustress is the positive response to what one views as a positive opportunity versus seeing the situation as a challenge. Unfortunately, college students are much more susceptible to negative stress, the feeling of strain or pressure that can lead to bodily harm. In fact, 80% of those polled in a 2008 survey conducted by the Associated Press and NTVU stated that over the past 3 months, they have sometimes or frequently experienced stress in their daily lives. In addition, 4 out of 10 students said that they endure stress often, while nearly 1 in 5 say they feel it most or all of the time. As a college student, these numbers are alarming, although not that hard to believe. Overall, encountering stress has become virtually unavoidable, especially as society has evolved. Stress management expert Elizabeth Scott states there are a lot of things that are factors that have made society more stressful, and that really translates to college life as well. The overarching reason for stress in college students can be attributed to the transitional nature of college life and the significant adjustments that it entails. Students are faced with new challenges that, if not handled efficiently, can result in stress. These challenges take the form of a wide variety of causes. First and foremost, there are academic pressures. From the very beginning, students are confronted with choosing a major and selecting the appropriate classes. They also are faced with heavy workloads, especially compared to high school, coupled with independence from parents and teachers, aka they no longer have anyone to hold their hand. Midterms and final exams also weigh heavy on their minds. Students are also faced with intense competition for internships, on-campus jobs, and jobs after graduation. This was especially prominent in recent years during the recession. Social problems also plague students. Most of these issues are experienced by those attending four-year schools. These students must face being homesick and leaving behind their entire support system, making new friends, relationships, especially long-distance ones, conflicts with roommates, and finding the right balance of socialization versus academics. Especially if they consider joining on-campus organizations, they must maintain balance between these activities and their academic responsibilities. Finally, there are financial worries. Students must obtain and maintain eligibility for financial aid. They must pay for their student loans. The cost of books and materials weighs heavy on the mind. And some students must also get a job if necessary. They must work hard enough to have adequate money while ensuring enough time for academics and fun. This is just a broad overview of the major categories of stressors. Every person is unique and may experience stress triggered by a wide variety of other causes. In the same manner, everyone responds differently to stress, depending on how they perceive the stressor. The feelings of being overwhelmed lead to a wide variety of effects that include physical and psychological. Physical ailments include weakened immune systems and states of equilibrium, which lead to illness. In addition, when people are stressed, they tend not to take care of themselves, which further leads to illness. Stress also exacerbates allergies and autoimmune diseases and slows your rate of recovery from illness. Stress also presents itself in the form of high blood pressure and heart problems because stress causes the blood vessels to constrict. High blood pressure raises your risk of other health problems such as stroke, heart failure, heart attack. There is also the risk of muscular tension, which can lead to headaches, migraines, stomach aches, etc. College students also face sleep deprivation. On average, they get about 6 hours a night, which is way below the recommended amount. Students may also be faced with skin problems. If you guys have ever experienced a rash because of stress. There is also an increased chance for drug and alcohol abuse as a result of stress, and excessive weight gain or loss. The freshman 15 is typically attributed to stress, because extended exposure to cortisol, which is a hormone released by stress, leads to cravings, and stress may also lead to eating disorders because stress hormones also halt your appetite. In addition, chronic stress, which results when too much cortisol is released and the body is not allowed enough time to recover, results in additional sleep deprivation, which further affects things like your digestion. Because the mind and body work so harmoniously, when a physical reaction is initiated, further emotional reactions may follow. These reactions could include mood swings and hostility. People tend to lash out in defense because other stimuli are perceived as stressors, even though they may not be. Students may also experience feelings of loneliness and helplessness. This may lead to depression and suicide. There's also the chance of anxiety disorders. In fact, the American College Health Association reports that the suicide rate among 15 to 24-year-olds has tripled since the 1950s, making it the second most common cause of death among college students. In addition, with anxiety, Psychology Today referenced an unnamed study that states that the average high school student in 2000 displayed the same level of anxiety as the average psychiatric patient in the 1950s, which I thought was really crazy. Students may also experience difficulty concentrating, and they may also tend to try and be perfectionists to overcome the stress and control. Many of these symptoms of stress also aggravate stress further. It operates in kind of a cyclical fashion. For example, stress leads to a lack of sleep, less sleep equals more stress. Thankfully, researchers in the stress management field have cited numerous methods for breaking this cycle by utilizing stress management prevention tips. Some ways that you can prevent or manage your stress include healthy eating. Researchers recommend moderate amounts of sugar, caffeine, and alcohol. They also recommend avoiding processed foods and energy drinks. And psychologist Dr. Gregory Jantz recommends staying hydrated because water is actually shown to improve your concentration. Another way to reduce stress is by exercising. Even just briefly walking takes the focus away from what is stressing you out. There are also several recommended tips for managing your life that include staying organized, budgeting, time management skills, and making sure to manage your commitments. For example, saying no when you really don't have the time for something. You also should avoid procrastination. There's also a recommendation to get an adequate amount of sleep. Now, everyone's body is different, but it is recommended that you get 8+ hours of sleep a night for college students. In addition, you should maintain and utilize a support system that may include family, friends, counselors, teachers, and anyone else you can discuss your problems with. Finally, you should make time for yourself in whichever way you choose. Achieve some sort of balance in your life. You may choose to relax, meditate, pursue your hobbies, even just spend time with friends and loved ones. And just as the causes and effects of stress vary widely, so do the effective solutions. What works for one person may not be appropriate for another. In general, though, negative stress is something that almost everyone experiences at least once in their life. For college students, this feeling typically occurs more frequently. Numerous pressures, which may include academic, social, and financial obligations and worries, are to blame for the increased level of stress in the lives of undergrads. Stress is displayed through numerous symptoms, and over time, if left untreated, stress can cause physical and psychological damage. Fortunately, there are many ways to manage and prevent stress, which are easy to incorporate into one's daily life. Even just the slightest change can make a difference.